It's the Neo 2. My gateway into the drone world was actually the original Neo. That was the first drone I ever bought, and it kicked everything off of me. It has started a hobby that's abused my wallet since. I've somehow ended up with 8 drones now. One I've lost in France, somewhere in a tree. I've gone down the rabbit hole a bit. I've got the Avata, some analog whoops, and some DJI whoops. But the Neo was where it all started. So I'm really interested to see what the Neo 2 is like, especially since that the first Neo is what got me addicted to FPV and just the drone world in the first place. So here's a quick unboxing. Here's the controller. Here's the batteries. You get some charging cables, some props, and here's the drone itself. And of course the obligatory DJI stickers. Yeah. Oh, the best part, my favorite. Little snack for you. Here are the two Neos side by side. You can see that the Neo 2 is slightly bigger. And this is a new transceiver setup. It screws into the frame using a little screwdriver they include. It works fine, but it's just a bit finicky. You have to line it up just right. And the screws are pretty small, so if you have your own screwdriver, I'd recommend using that instead. Okay, this screwdriver, it kind of sucks, to be honest. I might be using my own. It's the main thing I liked about the Neo, is it just gets swallowed by a little saddlebag, you know? You put another camera in there, and then you kind of set, you know? Off you go. Photos and videos sorted. And this one seems pretty throwable. I feel like with the transceiver, might be a bit nervous bending these antennas if I'm throwing it in a bag. So maybe it'd be kind of nice to get like a cover like this for the transceiver, just like something to clip on and support these antennas so they don't get crushed in a bag. But I don't know. I'm pretty rough with my equipment, so yeah. Okay, I'm gonna screw this back on. Then I'm gonna go do some shooting, and I'll come back and talk about it. The first thing I wanted to test was how good the Neo 2 is at avoiding obstacles while it's following you around. So I took it out and I pushed it a bit. Here are a few examples where I got it to crash into trees that were on my left side as I was riding along. It did a pretty good job. It would dodge like 3 or 4 trees, but on the 5th one, it kind of got caught up. And this one, I decided to ride under kind of a gap in the branches here, and yeah, it totally just flew into the trees above. Not sure if that's fair or unfair, but yeah, something to think about. Next, I wanted to do a proper side-by-side comparison by getting both Neos to follow me at the same time. I wanted to show the footage like this so you can directly see the differences in how they track and follow the subject. This footage is straight out of the box. I haven't changed any settings on the controller or on my phone. No sharpness adjustments, no color tweaks, just default settings from both of the drones. You can see the original Neo is a bit slower and sometimes lags behind, and if I duck quickly, which was always a weak point of the first Neo, it struggles to keep tracking and can lose me. The Neo 2 also slipped up once or twice, but overall it did a much better job. It stayed locked on more consistently and definitely outperformed the original Neo when it came to following me around. By now, if you're looking into this drone at all, you definitely know that the gesture controls are magical feeling. But what I was very intrigued to know was, is anyone able to hijack your drone by taking control with the gesture controls? Pulling it away from you and getting it to follow them instead of you. So we decided to test that, and it passed with flying colors. I fully hid behind Sona here, and she tried to take over. And as soon as I would pop out behind her, it would instantly recognize that I was the original subject. I don't know how it's doing that, but it really feels like magic, to be honest. Like, is it recognizing facial patterns or something? I'm not too sure, but yeah, amazing stuff. Okay, this next part, yeah, probably something you shouldn't do. I don't think it's super dangerous, but there is a chance you could cut your fingers if you try anything like this. I don't even really know what I was hoping to discover here, but I basically wanted to see if the Neo 2 was any more slap resistant than the original Neo. And honestly, the only conclusion I can draw is that it's definitely at least as tough as the first Neo. I've crashed it a bunch of times, dropped it, had it lock up, and it's been completely fine in terms of smacking it out of the air. They seem pretty much equally resistant. The next thing I wanted to do was fly the Neo 2 in FPV mode. I started with the Avata 2, then flew the original Neo, and then the Neo 2, just to get a feel for how each one handles back to back. Okay, I'm going to start the classic Avata 2. Alright, we're in normal mode at the moment. Switch to manual. Yeah, feels agile as hell. This dog is distracting me, asking me for a pat. It's a magpie. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah, I can turn on a dime. Feels good. It's what you would expect from the designated FPV drone. Yeah. Yeah. Heaps of power ready. Touch of a throttle. But I'm assuming most of you already knew that. Okay, now we're gonna whack the Neo, the first one, into manual mode, see how it does. And from memory, it doesn't do great. Feels very unsure of itself. But we'll see how we go. Alright, we're in normal mode. Now we're in manual mode. And yeah, this thing doesn't have too much power. I feel like if I'm gonna try and tip its lid, oh, yeah, it fell over and kind of crashed. Could have been my fault as a pilot. Probably a lack of skill. You can definitely roll this thing, but not as easily as the Avata, you know. Yeah. You do any sudden jerky gestures, it's gonna come down probably a little bit. Especially if you're like not a super confident flyer. But yeah. Let's go through the bench here. Yeah, you can pull some stuff off. That was at like 2 meters a year, but you know, you get my point. Okay, now we're gonna give the Neo 2 a whack. This will be my first flight flying at FPV. See how we go. Okay, this is strange. It has a little HUD of like objects around you with a little circular display. That's very odd. Just let me know there's sticks here. The dog wants more pats. This is very strange. This is an unusual experience. It feels like it's got more whack than the Neo. Definitely not as powerful as the Avata 2. Let's see how it does in manual mode. Okay. Oh, I feel like I'm limited. Oh, this feels very odd. I feel like I've got it set to rock steady, and it feels like it's interfering. I don't think I can flip it. Yeah, it feels like it's resisting my flip. Alright, okay. Does it want to do a loop? No, it doesn't. Okay, let's turn rock steady off and see how see what happens. I guess I have to land it. That's very strange. Okay. It's maybe not so good for FPV. I'll turn off rock steady and maybe that'll make a difference. I don't know why I kept going on about rock steady. That's clearly image stabilization. But what you actually have to do is turn manual mode attitude limit off. See that thing at the bottom there? That's what you got to turn off. And you'll find it in settings, control, remote controller, and then gain and expo section, and then manual attitude limit, turn that off. Alright, we've tweaked the settings, turned off the attitude limit. Let's see if we can flip this thing. Yeah, it's still telling me about the objects. It's a very unusual experience, but I've gotten pretty used to it pretty quickly actually. Times it's taken to get this thing to cooperate. Okay, now I feel like I got all my freedoms back. Yeah, we got lots of juice. Oh yeah, we can flip. Flip for days. Awesome. Oh yeah, this thing feels good. This thing feels almost as nimble as the Avata. I'd say it's like 80% of what the Avata is, you know? No, yeah, honestly, like, let's see if we can get it to be unhappy. This thing feels almost like a little bit more nimble than the Avata. That is crazy. That is wild. Okay. Looks pretty good. It's telling me about the objects in my way. Yeah, okay. Nah, it feels good. That is crazy how good this feels for FPV. It might be better than the Avata. Wow. Okay. There you go. For FPV, I feel like when you like fully whack the Avata around, oh, almost hit a tree there. Sometimes if you do an aggressive roll, it'll freak out. A bit like that, but this feels like it recovers a little bit better. It's quite windy right now as well. It's doing well in the wind. Wow. How about that? There you go. Nah, it's definitely blowing around in the wind a little bit more than the Avata would, but it feels weirdly nimble. How about that? Okay, and we're out of battery. Let's bring it back. Cool. Okay. Final thoughts on the Neo 2. I think they have really hit the nail on the head with this thing. It is like... Bless me. It is like, it's like the better gateway drug, to be honest, because it does everything the Neo did better, with extra cool features like the dolly zoom and, you know, boomeranging and whatnot. But it's also pretty darn good for FPV, which is not what I was expecting. But I'm happy about it, you know. Almost dropping the drone there, jeez. Yeah, I think if you are thinking about getting into the FPV hobby or just drones in general, and you want an all-rounder, something that's plug and play. I mean, you do have the Apple effect with DJI, where it's not very customizable. So if you prefer tinkering, definitely go down the analog route. But if you just want the first drone experience, it's very easy plug and play, which I think a lot of people are trying to break into the hobby are after. I would say this is the drone to get, you know, because you can use it by itself. You can use it just as an autonomous drone. It connects to your phone, easy to carry around. With the transceiver, you can use it as an FPV drone as well, you know? It kind of does it all pretty darn well, you know? So, yeah, that's my conclusion. I'm probably never going to use this thing. I don't really like using a remote with my phone. It's a bit of a pain. So I would say just get the drone, just get the transceiver, and if you really need those extra batteries, go for it. But I never needed extra batteries with my Neo. That is the one drawback with this, actually. Its battery life is a little bit shorter than the Neos, but I think, honestly, that's a fair trade.